The world of dating advice on social media and the internet right now is equivalent to walking through a regional local market in the Middle East or Southeast Asia, where everyone's trying to sell you on how high quality their products are, when in reality, they are a lot of counterfeit trash. Now, these sellers are glad to tell you how genuine and amazing the product is, and some may even believe it to be true, but in reality, you never know what you're going to get. It all looks good, but in reality, a good portion of it is garbage and not the genuine deal. And you're just searching for those moments when something's actually useful and effective. Nowadays, there seems to be more and more of these attractive dating coaches popping up, giving you advice on social media. And a lot of the people viewing this stuff fail to realize is just because someone is good looking doesn't mean they have good effective advice for you in dating. That just means they're good looking. It also doesn't mean that just because they have a lot of views means they have effective advice. That just means they're good at holding your attention and capturing your attention. And I would go a step further and say that just because they have thousands of previous customers doesn't mean that they're good at transferring their skills to you. That just means that they're good at extracting money from individuals and having you basically part ways with your money. And I'm not even going to stop there. It's not going to end there, because just because they have a few testimonials saying that they liked the coach or the coach made them feel good doesn't really mean the equivalent of results. Any type of vague or non-tangible testimonials are as good as nothing, because unless you're saying this person got me these dates and here's actual verifiable proof that these dates are high quality and they turned into a girlfriend or hookup or whatever you wanted, doesn't mean a thing. And yet I see all these people online, not all of them, there's plenty of skeptics as well, so we don't have to care about the skeptics, but besides the skeptics, plenty of people who eat this up and just are so naive and just think this is great advice. And I think that is very dangerous. There's so many people hawking stuff that they themselves believe is great advice, when in reality they're just throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall. Most of it doesn't stick. Some of it sticks enough so that they hold their own as a coach for now online, and it just goes from there. It's actually rather sad. Now, to balance things out, I'm not just one of those negative hater keyboard warriors who spout negativity and never buys a course. I'm generally fairly open-minded, and I've invested in courses and in-person coaching, despite being skeptical sometimes. I've been open enough where I'm like, you know what, this guy, I don't know if I believe everything, but I'll try it out. And sometimes that's what you find. You find that this coach is really good himself, but as far as transferring that to his students, that's another tough thing to do that doesn't always happen through. So here's some of my main issues with these coaches, and we'll call it a day from there. So the first one is they're constantly incentivized to create all this content online to get traffic, to generate sales, which means they're oftentimes putting out daily fluff content with fluff advice that really can lead people astray. Now, you may argue, well, once someone buys the $1,000 or $2,000 coaching program, that's when the real advice happens. And sure, but what about the people who can't afford that? Or, I've bought some of those programs too, and sometimes the advice on the other end isn't as great as you think it is. And sometimes it is pretty decent, so I'm going to give them a little bit of credit where it's due. That said, sometimes the fluff online is just terrible. but they truly believe it's awesome. I had this one coach say, they post all this crap online, and one of them said, one of the biggest turn-ons for women is a guy who actively listens. Dude, I've been an excellent listener. In fact, I've been complimented on it many times. You know where it gets me? It gets me friend-zoned. This coach probably had a moment with her significant other where this person was not listening, or maybe he was, and she really felt that. And she's like, wow, that's really nice. And then she made a video about it. Well, the truth is, that's a nice to have. That's good for relationships. That's when you've already hooked and attracted and done all that other stuff. But if you don't have those other pieces, working on your active listening, or the variety of other crap that they spew that you should work on, is just going to be an ineffective waste of your time. Another thing they'll say is, oh, you should go to these places to meet women. And it's the same philosophy of ineffective waste of time when you don't have the principles in place. A lot of them will say, oh, you can go to pickleball, you can go to a fitness class, go to yoga, go to Orange Theory, approach a girl at the gym. These are terrible places from personal experience. I've gone to hundreds of different fitness classes. I like to hop around. Now I do it mostly just for myself. I like to keep the variety going so I don't get bored. But I've done it all. Orange Theory, CrossFit, yoga, Pilates, you name it, I've done it. And here's the thing. The vast majority of people in there, they're there just to work out. They are in and out. So they're not there to talk and socialize like in a bar. So, with the exception of CrossFit, but even then, a lot of them are in and out. Trust me, I've lived in many different cities across the U.S. Charlotte, Nashville, New York, Miami. So I've seen, you might be like, oh, well, maybe it varies by city. No, I've tried it out. I've even lived in the cities where these dating coaches are giving advice from, like Austin. And no, they're not there to socialize. And so some of them are like on their way rushing out, and then you're chasing after them, and it's all weird. And sure, sometimes you'll get those chances where, okay, maybe they're lingering around. So you have 2 minutes, if you're lucky, and this person doesn't get approached by some other person, is not taken, to maybe get a conversation going while they're walking on their way out of their spin class. It's just ridiculous. And then you have to go on top of the fact that some of them get offended when you approach at the gym or whatnot. I've literally had girls say to my face, that is so weird that you would consider trying to meet someone at a yoga class. I'm just here to do yoga. And that's just how it is. And this one was, by the way, in New York, and I think she was a immigrant from Asia, so maybe that had something to do with it. But nonetheless, that's been a common theme. So there's a lot of advice out there that is just very theory-based. It's a guru, a woman or a man dating coach talking to a camera. What's the barrier to entry to that? Almost nothing, because you can film with your smartphone now. And you can just buy a $15 tripod to hold your camera. And so as long as they have the perception of credibility, which sometimes is as little as just looking very attractive online as a girl and giving dating advice in a confident way, all of a sudden you're generating tens of thousands of views and potentially leading men astray. So what should you be working on that's impactful? And I think the main thing here is most guys, myself included, and I had to learn this the hard way because people weren't telling me this. Most guys have really bad looks. You're overweight, you have hair out of your armpits, you have this acne all over your face, terrible teeth, greasy hair, no gel in your hair, it's all over the place. Or you just have a very nerdy look. You have glasses on, and you're Asian, and you're skinny, and then you just look like a nerd. And what happens is they're just not interested off the bat. And so these gurus are telling you, oh, you do this, do that, be friendly, have fun, be expressive. All those things don't matter when you can't even get your foot in the door with your looks. Now, sure, they'll give you more of a chance if you're just like approaching with I'm here to make friends and whatnot. But most of the time, you sometimes have to be a bit more direct with it or express romantic interest, especially if it's like at a bar or a club or a social event, or stopping a girl in the day at a cafe or on the street. And I'm not saying these are the best ways to approach women, but I will say that they actually give you opportunities. Whereas, if you go to a yoga class, that may be the one thing you do that day after work, or Orange Theory class or spin class or whatever. And guess what happens? You have a 2-minute window before and after class. There may be 5 eligible women in that class, and then you have to pick one of them because they all shoot out of class as soon as the class ends. And then you have to hope that they are not already taken, and that they are single, and that you're attracted to them, because sometimes they're not attractive to you. So the odds are just so small. Just to get one interaction with one girl per day, it's just ridiculous. Whereas when you go to a bar or something, there's like 20 girls there, especially in a big city, and then most are open and willing to talk, which is why they are there. They're not, they're just much more inclined because they're just sitting there, standing, socializing. And so, some people say bars and clubs are terrible places to meet people. The music's loud, you can't talk, and all this stuff. And I agree with that. And yet at the same time, they recommend all these crappy other events. And I think there's better events to meet high quality women, like volunteering or charity events, things that people disbelieve or they just don't even consider because it's just so far off from how modern society has programmed men to think of what's effective way of meeting others. So that's a video for another day to discuss. But regardless of the fact, I think there's a lot of theory-based advice that's just not good. I heard this the other day from a male dating guru. He was like, oh, go to conferences, go to anime conventions. Do y'all know how nerdy most of the people there, how the ratio, girl-guy ratio is terrible? And then if you do meet an attractive girl, like, they're going to be swarmed. And most of the attendees, female attendees to those types of events are not attractive. And then they only come around like once a year, maybe once every 6 months. So, a lot of this advice is like good in theory, but just not practical in practice. When you name it, I've done it. I've been to these events. And he was saying, oh yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a shark in that pond because no one else has any game in these types of scenarios. So I'm the only one who can just eat them up and take all the attractive girls there. Sure, I mean, good for you. That's possible, but what are we going to do? Wait once a year for that one chance? Or practice in other ways until that one event to meet a girl, and if it doesn't go our way or the ratio is not bad, then it's just ridiculous advice. Sure, I mean, you can do all of it at once, go to all these things, but I found that a effective man who's really attractive on the outside and inside can do well in all of these things. And the truth is, most of us are not that man. We are nerdy looking, we're not the most attractive yet outside, so they won't even give us a chance to look at us, and they won't give us a chance, or they will, especially if you come in from a friend standpoint, but then that's as far as you get, or they'll give you a small chance and then they're like, oh, this guy's personality is not that great. So with all that being said, am I just a Debbie Downer who says, oh yeah, it's all just a big joke, none of this advice is effective? No, I'm saying there's a ton of bad advice out there, and you need to be more effective with it. Screen through the crap out there, you know? People telling you to go to pickleball events and stuff like that. Dude, as someone who's actually been to those events, what happens is, you know, you're stuck on a team with 3 other people on the court. Most of them are usually not women. If they are, they're not attractive women or women who are single. And then you get limited time to talk because you're playing, and then you're swapped in and out. So you basically get to meet 3 people, maybe, you know, a couple more every half hour as they swap out teams. And then you're mostly like 99% of the time playing. So going back off my tangent to my main point, there are effective ways of meeting people and there are not. Hip hop dance class, sure, but same type of issue. You get the 2-minute window before and after class. And yeah, if you're a handsome, attractive man with a great personality, funny, good life, that dream guy, sure, they'll give that guy a chance. And no matter how awkward or where you're meeting that person, whether it's a bar, a club, Barry's boot camp, they'll give you a chance. But for the rest of us, we need to be more effective. We need to be able to have at least a 5-minute conversation with someone and not be rejected off the bat, and actually have those opportunities to do this, so we're actually being exposed to at least 5 women a day and not banking our chances on a once-a-year event or the one girl we meet at that one yoga or fitness class we attend a couple times a week. We need to find more effective ways of doing this. And so how do we do that? I think this goes beyond the scope of this discussion, because I think it requires more detail and elaboration. But just to give you the answer straight off without the explanation as to why, I think the fact is you have to go and try out the things that give you more of a chance, and fire on all cylinders. You need to be having good photo shoots, putting yourself out there on dating apps, all the dating apps. You need to be going to things in person and being as social as you can possibly. You can't be the guy who goes to a music festival and talks to no one. You can't be the guy who sits in a fitness class and talks to no one. These things are so easy to do. Trust me, as an introvert, as someone who's shy, I've been there. I've done that stuff. And guess what? It's so easy because a lot of people, they have no need to talk to you. They don't initiate for you. You're more comfortable just being silent. But that leaves you with zero people you've approached or talked to that day. So you basically make the most of it. You go to where the women are. Not where they say they're going, not where some dating coach says, but you go to where the women are. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of the women go to things that are not where the dating coaches say they go to. You know, pickleball, not as much as you think. Hiking, a lot of old people there, trust me, or a lot of men. Go to where they are, which is usually, you know, somewhere on a beach, bars, clubs, maybe charity and volunteer events, running clubs. Go to where they're actually hanging out. And sometimes they're not even doing that much, which I had to find out the hard way. It's like I'm doing all these things, doing crazy stuff, going to a juggling event, and you come to find out, oh no, you find out what they do for fun, really not much. Work, TV, gym, go out to the bars, occasionally some yoga, and then go for some walks and hang out with their friends. And so you just go to where they naturally are, whether that's a marathon or whatnot, or create events to attract them yourself. Host your own parties, your own events. and invite them out. And that's the best you can do. And just try on all cylinders. Try everything. Even the things I said that don't work, salsa class, hip hop class, try it all. See for yourself. And then you'll know for sure, like, dude, these things are not as great as they thought, they claimed. But these other things, this hip hop class is pretty decent, even though they said it wasn't going to be, or vice versa. And then discard what's not good, continue off what is, and actually move. And then through something like that, you can actually get somewhere and experience some results. And so what's the end result of that? Well, hopefully you'll find the relationship or the dating experience that you're seeking and looking for. But I think the whole thesis of this is you have to think for yourself. There's a lot of crap advice out there, and therefore you have to really sift through it, test it yourself, go out there as I have, and perhaps you'll find your solution. And given how complex the world is, even in the crappiest places, sometimes if you do it enough, you will find a gem. But you want to be effective at it. You don't want to go to 100 crappy events just to find that one girl that's actually pretty decent, and having had to go through 99 crappy events with poor attendance and bad ratios just to meet that one. You want to be effective with your time. And so from personal experience, you have to piece apart the crap that these gurus give you. And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it being shuffled out there. Oh, you should go to pickleball. You should do this. You should do that. And with that, I end this, and I wish you the best of luck.